Bill Gates had just wrapped up another busy week. Mornings were spent in large foundation meetings discussing vaccines and education projects, while afternoons were focused on exploring new investment opportunities. In between, he managed to catch up with old colleagues, often wondering to himself, what ventures are opening the doors to the future? One day, his assistant sent him a message. Mr. Gates, one of the country's most prestigious universities, is hosting a large entrepreneurship and R&D fair. They're insistent about having you attend. Normally, Gates preferred to join such events online, but this time he couldn't suppress his curiosity. He was tired of seeing the same kinds of projects over and over again and was hoping to discover something truly innovative and impactful. When he arrived at the fair, the massive hall was filled with colorful booths. Each display showcased 3D printed prototypes, robotic arms, AI-powered software, or cutting-edge biotechnology devices. Students, professors, entrepreneurs, and investors buzzed with excitement. Gates wandered through the crowd, recognizing a few familiar faces, some from the tech industry, others from foundation projects he had supported. But the same question lingered in his mind. Is there anything here that truly stands out? The center of the hall was illuminated by the glow of major sponsors' booths. Some projects drew large crowds with professional presentations. But as Bill Gates moved further into the fair, his eyes caught a nearly hidden table in a dimly lit corner. The booth looked almost abandoned. Two small tables stacked together with scattered sensors, a half-assembled device, and complex circuit diagrams hand-drawn on loose papers. Sitting behind the table was a young man in his late 20s. His hair was unkempt, his eyes tired yet gleaming with determination. This inventor, unnoticed by the rest of the fair, sparked Gates's curiosity. Slowly he approached and asked, "Hello, how are you?" The young man, unsure of who was addressing him, hesitated before replying, "Welcome," in a timid voice. It was clear that no one had shown interest in his project. Amid all the noise and excitement, this quiet corner seemed forgotten. Bill Gates glanced at a small sign on the table and read aloud, "Lucas Harding, Microsolar Reactor." With a genuine tone of curiosity, he asked, "What's the microsolar reactor?" Lucas took a deep breath. Perhaps he had explained it countless times, only to be ignored. Still, he spoke passionately. Microsolar reactor is a system unlike traditional solar panels. It's much smaller in size, using a lens system to focus sunlight into a miniature storage unit. It can generate energy even in areas where standard panels wouldn't work. It's cost-effective, making it ideal for rural or low-income communities. I started designing it years ago, but I couldn't secure funding. Nobody was interested. Gates leaned in closer to examine the prototype. It featured roughly soldered circuit boards, small lenses, and a low-capacity battery in the back. Clearly, it was a raw invention. "Why isn't anyone interested?" Gates asked. Lucas offered a faint, bittersweet smile. "Most investors only focus on large-scale projects. Some were scared off by the cost of securing patents. Trying to fund it on my own has been nearly impossible." Bill Gates's mind was racing with ideas. His foundation already focused on renewable energy and affordable technologies, though typically supporting larger consortiums. Yet this microsolar idea struck him as profoundly logical. A compact modular solar device could be a beacon of hope for low-income families. Gates turned to his assistant and quietly instructed, "Investigate Lucas's booth. Prepare a report on the patent situation, the prototype's functionality, and a list of materials. Document everything." He then looked back at Lucas and asked kindly, "If we could provide you with a proper lab, would you be able to develop this idea further?" Lucas's eyes widened in disbelief. "Of course, but do you really believe in this project?" he stammered. "Absolutely," Gates replied firmly. "I do, because I see potential in it." At that moment, announcements from the main stage echoed through the hall, with keynote speakers energizing the crowd. But Gates and Lucas, in a quiet corner away from the commotion, were forming a silent agreement that would change Lucas Harding's life forever. The day after the fair, Gates's team invited Lucas and his prototype to their state-of-the-art R&D facility, known as BG Tech Lab. Lucas could hardly believe the rapid turn of events. Wide-eyed, he explored the lab, equipped with 3D printers, precision measurement tools, and advanced energy efficiency analyzers. The lead engineer greeted Lucas and said, Let's set up your microsolar reactor here and order the components you'll need. Can you walk us through the core mechanism? Lucas explained enthusiastically. At its heart, there's a movable lens system that tracks the sun and focuses light onto a reaction chamber. This concentrated light then powers photovoltaic cells, which produce a small but sufficient amount of electricity. The engineer nodded, impressed. Even low-capacity models could be enough to power lights or small electronics in underserved areas. Lucas added, exactly. Imagine rural homes where lamps light up and phones charge. This could make a huge difference. Gates occasionally visited the lab in person or received progress updates remotely. Lucas and the team worked tirelessly to enhance the microsolar reactor's efficiency, but they encountered various setbacks: overheating lenses, unstable batteries, and challenges protecting the device from external factors like dust and rain. During one test, the lens overheated and cracked, causing panic in the lab. Lucas, disheartened, muttered, "What if this idea isn't as good as I thought?" Gates, joining via teleconference, reassured him, "Every prototype has issues. What matters is learning from them and moving forward." This encouragement gave Lucas renewed confidence. After all, no great invention had ever succeeded without overcoming its share of failures. Weeks later, as the prototype became more stable, rumors began to circulate in the tech world. Gates is investing in a new solar energy project. Some dismissed it as minor news, but others, including journalists and researchers, grew curious. Rather than hosting a grand launch, Gates decided to organize a small-scale demo for select journalists and academics. Lucas, both excited and nervous, prepared meticulously. The conference room at BG Tech Lab was set up with a polished display table, a newer version of the prototype, and visual aids. For Lucas, this was more than just a presentation. It was his chance to prove himself. The day finally arrived. Journalists and tech experts entered the lab, greeted warmly by Bill Gates. "Today, we're introducing a special project we've been working on," he announced, inviting Lucas to the stage. For the first time in his life, Lucas stood before such an influential audience. Renowned technology writers, academics, foundation representatives, and observers from energy companies. He explained the microsolar reactor in detail, from its lens tracking system to its modular design. He demonstrated how it solved challenges like shadowing, cloudy weather, and rain. The crowd was captivated. Journalists whispered, "Why hasn't anyone heard of this before?" as they eagerly took notes. When Lucas concluded, Gates stepped forward and said, "Sometimes brilliant ideas go unnoticed. Lucas, your dedication and creativity are remarkable." Lucas, overwhelmed with emotion, steadied his breath and replied, "Mr. Gates, you gave me a chance. I hope this small reactor can improve many lives." Lucas Harding was no longer a hidden inventor. The media spotlight was on him, with headlines like "The Miniature Solar Energy Revolution." NGOs contacted BG Tech Lab to pilot the device in rural areas. Lucas, now busier than ever, managed patent filings, production discussions, and field tests. Months later, the first units of the microsolar reactor were installed in a rural African village. With just a few devices, homes were illuminated at night and phones were charged. Villagers marveled at the small box that harnessed the sun's power. Cameras captured their joy, and Lucas felt an unparalleled sense of pride. Bill Gates, in a press release, summarized it perfectly. "This project shows how unnoticed talent can create enormous impact. The key is being willing to find and support." Thus, Lucas Harding, a quiet inventor tucked away in the corner of a fair, rose to global prominence with the help of Bill Gates. His invention changed lives, proving that great ideas often emerge from those who simply need a helping hand. Sometimes the greatest innovations are hidden in the most unlikely places, waiting for the right person to notice them. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more inspiring tales like this one.